Okay, we've just got to the end of day 10 of the Undercover Policing Inquiry, Tranche 3, Phase 1. We've been lifting the second day of evidence of the Undercover Police Officer, James Thomson. I'm joined with Evelyn Lovers, the Undercover Research Group. I hope the volume's working okay. The microphone's just died on me, along with my laptop, along with so many other things, having huge technical problems. Evelyn, what have you made of what we've heard?
Well, it was more of the same. I can't remember. If you say so, I accept that. But the interesting thing was when he talked about how he didn't want to leave when his deployment ended. He was about to be found out, or some of the things he had done were being found out. And this afternoon they focused on how he used the identity of Kevin Crossland, who registered at the same address as the James Thomson. So it was his cover house, and what he started to do was he registered on the what do you call it, the electoral register. He got a telephone line there. He got water, electricity, and it seems a bit overdone. He kept saying, like, they went through it one by one, and it was like to substantiate my identity and my. So it seemed that he wanted to continue his undercover existence with a different identity, and it's like really, really funny because he was in a state that where he really liked his life undercover. It was, what did he say? It was freedom.
Liberating.
Liberating. Yeah. And, like all the people he talked about that was so extremely violent and kicking people's heads in and wanting to kill someone with a gun that he provided. This is the story that we don't believe at all. But suddenly they become his chummies and his friends, and he wants to stay with them. And
there was a lot of debate about that. I mean, essentially, we saw the contemporaneous documents that said that he had developed the identity in order to be able to travel to the United States undetected, but then he was challenged on that because obviously he'd done it in many years in advance of this particular travel, so that was called out as a lie by his managers. He says that he was going to use his identity somehow, kind of continue the existence of James Thomson in that life. But he hadn't worked out how he was going to do that. He says that it wasn't a rational idea. But he was spending quite a lot of money on setting up all these things.
Yeah, he was confronted with that.
And there was this thing about, if he was going to continue this identity, how was he going to do it?
Yeah, how was he going to pay for it? How was he suddenly going to continue this existence with a different name and a different identity? It was like, but I think it was sort of, what was only lightly touched upon was his state at the time. The thought that he was going to do a Chitty, or he was going to go back to his friends. And he was, at the time that he was found out by his managers, and in a quite a slow way, because they discovered some things. But a lot they didn't discover yet.
And there was this whole thing that he was trying to portray himself as a man in distress to his managers in order to get out of this internal investigation.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of the reports, just towards the end, just now, which kind of really explored this idea that, this travel that he did to Beachy Head, where he kind of pretended that maybe he was suicidal, and he's like, oh no, I just went to think to clear my head.
For sure,
but he refused to go and see the psychiatrist, Dr. Piper, as he said that it would somehow
do that when everything is, when all the investigations are finished. Yeah.
Yes, there was prejudice the investigation. I mean, he was told that there was
she was independent. Yeah. Yeah, that he was told that she was totally independent and nothing would get back to them. And, obviously they saw that he was in quite a state.
But that he wasn't. I mean, they didn't believe him, essentially, was the point, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, but...
I mean, that's what it said.
I was going to say, at a certain point, they thought he was suicidal, or he claimed to be.
He was claiming to be suicidal.
Yeah, so it kind of tells you something about, the thing he was doing with the Kevin Crossland identity in the house was totally overdone, and he accepts that was idiot now. But it tells you something about the state he was in. So he wasn't, he lives in a fantasy world. So apparently he lived that fantasy and wanted to sort of build on that. But also, he lived in the fantasy that he could continue to mislead his managers. So, or he could, you know, like he could tell them he was in distress, but then he claimed he was not. But obviously, he was. You know?
Yeah, but I think what we also went through was how much time he was spending doing his job, how much time he was doing other things. And it was pointed out that in 2.5 years, he only filed 21 reports. During the same time period, we saw that other undercover officers had filed 222 reports, 170 reports for another one. And it was that he'd also, as well as doing this job, that is this cover role, which involved him going into the office 2 days a week, sometimes spending 2 weeks on deployment during filming, that he also managed to complete a degree with the Open University, which was a part-time university course. He spent most days, he would spend time with his partner. He also spent time with another woman called Lucy, who appeared to be another relationship that he was in during part of the time of his deployment. He also spent a lot of time, it's stated, with his children. So the idea that somehow he was losing his identity whilst undercover, or he was in any sort of distress, doesn't seem particularly credible. He's very much like kind of leaned into this idea that he didn't know what was going on, everything was getting on top. Yet what we see is quite calculating, albeit like not very well explained sort of behaviours of him. So much of it he claims he doesn't remember. So much of these things he claims he doesn't remember. I mean, with so many of the questions being asked, he just says, "I don't know," as if somehow it was someone else who did it rather than him. He's who else was going to tell us if not him? He's the person who did it. Leaves a lot of questions to be answered.
Yeah, and I doubt we're going to get those answers from him because he is. Well, it's not lying that much, or he's lying when he says. But he lies when he says he can't remember. We did some calculations for yesterday, and he used the phrase "I can't remember" 131 times. And we're going to do some more analysis about, like things like that. I accept that, or I can't recall it. Like the same phrase but in different words. I don't know. Well, it's going to be. It's going to be extremely sort of. How do you say that? Like, how do you call it? They're going to read out the emails he kept sending to Ellie, over the years after he had said he had finished the relationship and said goodbye to her. So it's going to be quite awkward. That was the word I was looking for, because they're quite
deeply cringy.
They're. And well, we won't go into that now, but it's going to be like, is he gonna like really? Well, we already noticed that he admitted or accepted everything about the relationships because he knows that the emails are there and he can't deny anything about that. But it's like it's going to be awkward and cringy and. I'm not looking forward to it because we're not going to get answers to the really important questions.
No. I think James Thomson has proved that he's not willing to be truthful at any time. It's weirdly he kind of admits in some of the documents, I wasn't being truthful then. I was looking to deceive my managers then. Yet also claims that his actual reports were truthful. He also, like this thing about there only being 21 reports over 2.5 years. He claims that that's not true. He claims that this was a lie. This is a contemporaneous report from the SDS about his SDS reports.
Yeah, he says
that the officer who compiled that was lying, that he hadn't looked in the proper places for the reports. Barr puts it to him, it's like, where else should he have looked? You were giving the reports to the same officers.
Yeah.
How would he be lying? And
he
maintains the same line that this is false. There's no sign of any of these. We have seen some reports. I think we might even have the 21, to be honest. So maybe there's no reports missing. He's relied so often on the idea that there's reports missing. It's a joke.
Yeah, because like you say, they looked at it at the time. Now, indeed, there are very many reports missing, and we are kind of thankful to MI5 that they kept all the reports. Otherwise,
not from this period.
Not from this period, but from before. So yes, the Metropolitan Police lost a lot of reports, misplaced them, destroyed them. Yeah, well, okay, one way of looking at it. But this is a contemporaneous report of his manager who counted the work, you know, he had a look at the work he did. So, you know, like you can't lie your way out of this. It's just, it's
no, I mean,
just too...
Yeah, I mean, he's literally, I mean, he just point blank says, I mean, somewhat like this, the earlier on we talked about this trip to America, that he says that he didn't go on, even though there's a visa stamp, even though there's credit card records from spending money there. He just goes, oh no, that didn't happen, and came up with a bullshit reason why. Similarly, he just goes, oh no, the official documents aren't true. I did much more than that, and it doesn't add up.
No, it just doesn't add up. And yeah, admitting he's not amused. He's quite cold to him, so he's saying thank you. And we have to say that Barr is, who questions him, is doing a great job. He's laying trap. He's like sort of building up, question by question, you know, like things he started yesterday, laid some eggs, hatching them now, and just allows Thomson to destroy himself, you know, get sort of stuck in his web of lies.
Yeah, Barr is definitely doing his job. There is at least one more day of questioning. We'll be back on Monday for a full day of questioning of James Thomson. It appears that Barr has gone quite quickly through his questions, so Tuesday is reserved for further questions. We don't know if that actually will happen, but there's plenty more to come. Anything else you want to add?
No, it's been a long day. Been enough.
Yeah, it's been a long week. I'll be doing a Twitch Spaces this evening. There's been terrible technical problems. I think it's hardware problems on my end. I think that's why lots of these problems are happening. I just don't have very good equipment. If anybody wants to support me to buy better equipment, you can do so. Go to ko-fi.com/Tom B. Fowler. You can donate to my work if you find it useful. And if you'd like it to be less technically awful, basically. All right, thanks for joining. See you all on Monday.